a lot of people that enjoy this video, and maybe the ones that even enjoy it the most, are the same type of people that would probably be afraid to run across this dude on the
Yeah,
street
that's
because
true.
he's stereotypically, yeah, he looks like a homie. He looks like
Yep.
a what's up fool. He has that look. And so this look is associated with a specific type of character. So people see this video and they see, oh, there's a homie on a skateboard. They don't really know where this is going. They just
Yeah.
see that there's this guy. He's wearing the really baggy sweater, by the way. This is early '90s baggy style culture. We talked about how he used to dress when we were younger.
All right, you are listening to the Brown Perspective. This is your host, Eduardo, and I'm here with R.O.
Buenas tardes, ¿cómo estamos?
Estamos bien, and we always try to bring you good vibes, the good stories, the things that get people moving and singing. And we would be remiss and we don't talk about our homie, our Nathan Apodaca, better known as Dogface 208.
And he's still going strong because this was about a week ago now.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of the time, some of these viral sensations don't stick around that long.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that, and yes, yesterday I was reading the New York Times article that sort of featured him and got a little bit more of the story. Because I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is cool. I saw it in a number of feeds, predominantly Latino,
Hmm.
because I think people right away connected him as a Latino, and it was just to see him, and you can tell it was a rural community. I didn't know the circumstances, but you can tell he was just jamming. He was on his board, and all of a sudden he pulls out that that gallon of cranberry juice, and then he enjoys it, and then he goes into the perfectly timed into lip singing that song, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. He looked like he was having a good time, and then just to see it explode from there has been interesting.
Yeah, and also the reason why it's stuck around for so long is because it sparked this wave of other videos and people inspired by him. So it generated not just more TikTok videos and people posting their video doing the same thing as him, but it also generated articles. It also generated news stories about him, and then that in turn generated more interest. So it became very cyclical, and I think we're still in that cycle where right now, for example, right now if you type in his name and you see the news is now about Mick Fleetwood that sends him he sent him a letter, and then he also surprised him in one of the interviews, and they spoke directly to each other, and then he thanked them and told them how much he appreciated it, and then that's generating news. So that's why this thing has longevity because
Yeah,
of
and
that.
also the company also gave him probably like a year supply of juice and a brand new truck too.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think it's smart on the company, right? They realized that oh yeah, this is something special. And yeah, this is the story that I read because it was basically his car shut down, broke down, and it was just okay. I got my skateboard that I have just in case of an emergency. Let me get on it. Let me make sure I'm hydrated because I'm in Idaho, going to my po- potato warehouse to my work, and let me just have a good time while I do that.
Yeah. Remember we had a buddy in college that came from Idaho, and
Idaho?
yeah,
Best
and
potatoes come from Idaho.
yeah, and he grew up working in the potato fields.
Hmm.
So he had a remarkable story of growing up in that and then making it all the way to college, being the first in his family. And so the type of pictured what he portrayed regarding the community in Idaho, Nathan here fits right into that, except he seems like he's one of the ones that just did not get the opportunity. He's still stuck working at that potato factory, and then he was riding around in a truck with 300,000 miles breaking down on him because of a bad battery, and so he even carries his longboard just in case, because that happens enough that you start developing an alternative, a plan B, right? And that's
That's right.
exactly what that skateboard was.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. And I think the other thing that struck me about the video when I first saw it was that he has that tattoo of the Native American or the native feathers. So he has a couple of feathers on his cap. And for those listeners who may not be familiar, usually the feathers, the reason why you put feathers on your cap when you accomplish great things within your tribe and where you're recognized. So that's why the chiefs usually have a bunch of feathers because obviously they've been around and have done a lot of things. So the fact that he had a feather on his cap when I first saw him, I was like, oh yeah, this guy is from somewhere in the interior, whether it's Idaho or
Hmm.
North Dakota, South Dakota. Um, so it's cool that, and I think he's Latino too, right? So he's have
Mexican and
that.
half Native American. On
Hmm.
his mother's side, he's Native American. And let's play the video since we're talking about
Let's
it.
do it, bro.
It's this one is short and sweet.
Put it loud, baby.
All right, good
Woo!
vibes. So,
Dude, and that song too, man. Like and also that song in particular has that nostalgic
hmm,
beat to it, right?
yeah, it's a great song. And so let me ask you then, what do you think? Okay, so if we're gonna talk about videos that go viral, TikTok videos, because there's a lot of them, but there's also considering how many videos people are posting to TikTok, YouTube, and so forth each day. It's a very small percentage of videos that go viral, especially like
Hmm.
this one. So, what do you think specifically it is about this video and why it's been so well received? What are the major, the salient features of it? Because I do have my commentary on it as well, but I want to get your take on it first.
Okay, the first one is that he's the song, right? So you
Yep.
hear the song come in, and I think it's the fact that you don't know, is he riding his bicycle, is he skateboarding? So then you kind of, okay, he's skateboarding, and then all of a sudden he kind of just takes a gulp of juice, and I think that's kind of expected, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like, oh, he's just having a good time. Like right now, like when I first saw that video, I thought that he was just chilling, right? I thought he was just probably hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he just went to the store to 7-Eleven to pick up that juice and a couple other things, and he was on his way home, and he was just feeling good, having a good time, and then he freaking breaks it down and acts into it, right? He gets into the lyrics, and so it's just, I think those were the things that captured me. It was just kind of like the happiness and the music, sort of what the mood that he's captured, and I think that's how I first saw it. It was like, oh, a lot of Instagram accounts were sharing, oh, current mood, or this is how I want to feel. And the other piece, I think, given every all the other shitty news out there, political and otherwise, I think it's just something that is very different, very human, that I think so many of us connected with.
He looks so carefree. He
Yeah,
really does just seem to be out there enjoying himself.
exactly.
And I think it also generated even a lot more interest once people found the backstory that led to him doing this. Once they realized, like, wait, his truck broke down. He has to make it to work. He works at a potato factory. Most people would be freaking out,
Hmm.
upset, annoyed. But this guy is so carefree, just chilling down in his longboard, drinking ocean spray, and then lip syncing to a great song. So
Yeah.
I agree with all that. I do think those are.
Wait, but can I ask you
Sure,
something?
go ahead.
Can you play it again before you give me your take?
Okay. That was the encore.
And
So
he's looking at, and then he starts by looking. into our eyes and saying, "What's up?"
Yeah, he nods. He's like, "What's up,
Yeah, he
fool?
nods like, "Yeah, what's up?
What's up,
What's up,
fool?
fool?
Come on,
I'm just
come on."
here on my ride."
Yeah, and I'm gonna pause it at the frame that I think is probably the one that strikes people the most, apart from the part where he lip syncs. I think is the
Hmm.
part where he stretches out his arm and he opens it up just to like take in everything around him. I think this right here is the essence of this video, and I don't know if people pick up on it, but
Yeah.
when he does this, he looks free. The part where he just looks like he's completely out there because of the way he opens up to embrace everything. And by the time I saw it, all the buzz around it and the articles and everything was already out there. Also, I saw it and I recognized right away. It's like, oh, this is really cool. But
Hmm.
I think one of the reasons why this video has struck people the way that it has is because it breaks a stereotype in a
Mm.
huge way, and assumptions that people make about others. For example, a lot of people that enjoy this video, and maybe the ones that even enjoy it the most, are the same type of people that would probably be afraid to run across this dude on the
Yeah,
street
that's
because
true.
he's stereotypically, yeah, he looks like a homie. He looks like
Yep.
a what's up fool. He has that look. And so this look is associated with a specific type of character as a result
Hmm.
of the media and as a result of the inherent structural racism in so many aspects of our society. So people see this video and they see, oh, there's a homie on a skateboard. Oh, that's interesting. Homies ride skateboards, or they don't really know where this is going. They just
Yeah.
see that there's this guy. He's wearing the really baggy sweater, by the way. This is early '90s baggy style culture. We talked about how he used to dress when we were younger.
That's right.
So he has it all. He has the shaved head, the tattoo, and the tattoo. The first time that I saw the tattoo, I didn't. I saw a video that it had been reposted, so the quality was degraded. So I
Oh.
couldn't make out right away that it was a feather. So to me, it just looked like, oh, here's a guy with a tattoo on his head, a loose sweater, and then he's on the street breaking the law, right? So that's immediately my mind is putting all that together because it is illegal to ride on the middle of the street with that, isn't it? I mean,
I think so. And also, and I know you and I have been to Idaho. It's a beautiful state. I mean, so beautiful. And but those two-lane country roads or that road where he's at, I mean, that's dangerous.
yep,
You
yeah,
have cars going really fast, you have trucks, and it's just crazy. And you really don't see people riding their skateboards on a country road like that. I mean, you see them in the here in the city, right? Because
yeah,
the places you have to get to are closer, but
yeah.
that's yeah.
And so, look, already the fact that he's posting into TikTok means that this isn't a video where you're gonna see something dangerous, or the dude is not a threat. So
Yeah.
in that regard, people already put their guard down a little bit. But he's still in there. When people are seeing this, he still fits the profile of what they were so accustomed to seeing and on TV, which is the negative stereotypes of the homies and the cholos. And then he takes the gulp of the juice, and yeah, that's cool that he does that. But then once he breaks down with the singing, and not only that he breaks down singing, and he completely gives everyone a 180 in terms of what they were expecting out of this guy, but he also does it so effortlessly.
Hmm.
Just he has like a natural knack for performance, it seems, because he does the lip singing, and he goes down a little bit, he does a bit of a movement, and then he
Yeah.
does that part right here where he just takes in everything around him. And I think it's that critical element where he completely surprises people by doing the lip singing, because that is the last thing that you would expect from someone that looks like him. And so essentially, what you have here is we talk about this a lot. We talk about this a lot when it comes to other issues, but this he's going viral because of people's unconscious biases. That's what it is.
Because they don't expect it or what?
Exactly, and people, and that's it's surprising to me that people are not talking about this. That the reason why this has such a feel good a feeling to it, and why it stays with people, is because he broke down one of those unconscious biases that people have.
Hmm.
Right? So he's effectively breaking down that bias to say, look, I may look like this, but I love Fleetwood Mac. And I don't know if you get any more American or even white than Fleetwood Mac when you think
Yeah,
about
no, and it's
music.
funny because for me, as an East Coaster, immigrant, and then when I first came out to the West, realizing that, so many Latinos here, so many, and we talked about this before, how the homies, a lot of the music that's used in cruising is those old classic,
Yeah, the oldies.
the oldies, right? And to me, it's like nothing much more American than that. And you're right. I think there's so many people who don't realize that Latinos have been here forever and they love the music, they contributed to the music, and that they get down to something like these, or like this, or like the Beatles. And you're right. I think that that's something that people relate it, and they don't expect to see someone like him jamming out in public and
Yeah.
doing this type of video.
Yeah, and that's why it shocked people so much in a good way, to enough that this video has gone viral and everyone that sees it gets a good reaction out of it, because the fact that they could relate to this guy, somebody that they never would have thought that they could relate to, just based on what they've been conditioned to think about people that look like him. Because I know for a fact, I know people that would be scared of him if they saw him down the street, yet
Mm.
they're loving this video, they're sharing it. So that also played a role in his instant celebrity status. Apart, just everything is perfect about it. The fact that we've been in lockdown for months, and people have been under a constant sense of stress and maybe even dread and
Hmm.
anxiety. Yeah, and this is perfect timing for it. And maybe he just reflects the fact that people just want to be able to let go and detach for even just a little bit. And that's why I was saying right here that when he opens up stretches out his arm and just embraces everything around him, I think it does play a bit into that. And so also he's charismatic, because even in the beginning when he does that nod, and you could tell right away that he looks so comfortable, and that nod that he does is so effortless. Also, he gives you a nod and a little smile, and then he's just
Yeah.
going about his thing. And if I don't know if you have seen, but he's inspired a lot of other people to also ride in their skateboards and drink cranberry juice. But
Yeah.
you see them, but it's they don't have the same that special something to it.
Esa gracia.
Uh-huh. Just, yeah, he has a knack. Whatever he has, I'm sure he does other things. He does do other videos where he dances, because he does have his profile. And he did have a decent amount of followers
Yeah.
before this video, but he does have a knack for entertainment and so forth. But I do think a big part of it is the unconscious bias that people just, they were shocked because they didn't expect this from someone that looks like a homie.
Yeah. And I think the other piece is also we can talk about a little bit about classism and poverty, right? Because I think that if you need to ride a skateboard in Idaho, that means that you're in a different economic, right? So you're struggling. Your truck just broke down. But obviously, we don't know this. But I think even if you didn't know anything about who this guy was, you kind of okay. Well, he's on a skateboard in the middle of a random country road. Um, but yeah, he's so fucking happy, right? He's
Yeah.
just like he's yeah, he's struggling, but he's having a good time and he's making the best out of it. So I think to your point, part of the reason that people don't may be afraid or may not have related to him is also like not only the fact that he looks like a homie, but also the class piece, right? So I also wanted to bring that up into
Yeah,
the
and
conversation.
yeah, I wanted to bring that up as well. I hope I don't turn here into a downer for this particular instance,
Wah
because
wah wah.
I'll try not to, but it is like the big elephant in the room, really. And when you go to read the story about this, and when you go see the coverage and all the discussion that it spawned and everything else that's going on around it, no one is talking about that, about how similar this is to the Hunger Games. Everyone wants to talk about the feel-good nature of this video, but not about the fact that why is a 37-year-old man, why does he have to ride a skateboard to work? And then even when he mentioned about the donations that are coming in, and he was, because they've been giving him donations, he raised first $10,000 and then $20,000, and he said that the biggest donation that he got was $200, and he says that he was completely surprised that anyone would send him $200 just like that, because that's how much he makes. He has to work 3 to 4 days just to make that.
God damn.
And he lives in an RV parked in the front of his brother's house. So that means that whenever he has to use the bathroom, he has to go into his brother's house. He has 2 daughters, but he doesn't live with them. I think they live in another state. So no one's talking about the economic situation that he finds himself in, and as well as millions of other people. Everyone just wants to talk about the fact that he's gone viral, and now he's in a way set because he's getting all these donations. He got the truck. And by the way, Ocean Spray, that's just, I hope people realize that that's just a publicity stunt. They saw an opportunity to put their name in there to give their brand a good image, and they went for it. Look, I would have been impressed if they would have bought him a house, because you saw how much the Ocean Spray sales spiked as a result of all the publicity that he's given them. I mean, they should have bought the dude a house if they really wanted to do something to help him out. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I don't want to do that, but a truck will help him. It will make things a bit easier for him. But if they really wanted to help this dude, give him a house. Look at how much money he's generated for your company. And he's still generating for the company, right? But anyway, like, no one's really talking about the economic situation that a lot of people find themselves in. It's more like, oh, let's just all focus on the feel-good nature of the video, and how if you become a TikTok star, you can make it in this country, right? There's something wrong with that if that's what it takes to get you out of poverty.
Well, yeah, and it's funny because I think the band too, the band owes him huge, because I think in some ways he kind of resurrected that song and also introduced it, more importantly, to a whole new audience. So I think you make great points. And in some ways, yeah, social media is kind of becoming the sports, right? If you're lucky enough to get a video or two or a few videos that you do, and that helps you get viral and you get followers, and that's a way to kind of get out of poverty. But yeah, what about the thousands, millions of other people who unfortunately are stuck in that situation and maybe are not as talented or are as lucky as those who either make it on TikTok, social media, or in sports, right? Because I think that's the other vehicle by which whether it's soccer, football, basketball, any sport, oftentimes is one of the only ways that poor kids have to get out of poverty.
And you would think someone would say something about that. Some politician, some leader of the community, somebody else that say, hey, we should talk about his comment that he says he has to work 3 to 4 days just to make $200. That should be concerning to a lot of people. Let's have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just because the country is desensitized to this, or it's just because people just don't want to talk about it because it's gonna ruin the spirit of this video. So just people won't mention it. And then I was just reading. I was looking for stories. I was trying to see if anyone would dig into that to find more depth to this. But no, everything is just about the video and how good it makes everyone feel, and about how this shows that we're all connected in some way and how we all care about each other. And I'm thinking, yeah, it does. But come on, if you're going to start using that language, the language of interconnectedness and how we really are, just one people and we care about each other and stuff like that, then talk about his economic condition, right? But if you're not going to talk about his economic condition, then don't try to give me this BS about how this video shows how like that there's hope for humanity in a way. I mean, it could, but I'm trying to walk a fine line here, because I do understand that there's positive that comes out of videos like this. But if, as long as we stay on the surface and we don't want to get into like the lower levels to really understand what the problems are, then then it's just that. It's just like a very superficial positive effect that it has. Like, oh, a video generates a positive effect in humanity. How lasting of an effect does that really have? But maybe I am just being a downer here. Maybe this is just a TikTok video and I shouldn't worry about that stuff. Just enjoy the damn video, right? And don't think about these things.
No, well, it is and it isn't, right? And you bring up some good points because I think in some ways the fact that he's having an opportunity to talk and do interviews and do other things, and I know that apparently he already got himself a an agent. It does mean that he's up there, and we'll see what else comes after this, right? So now, like with anyone else, like with any artist, right now, there's going to be the pressure of coming up with something that is as entertaining as good as this first video. But I do think that maybe not everybody who saw who bought into the hype will have a discussion, but I think some people may, and I think even him, I'm sure that his example is going to inspire other little kids. There's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be conversations about, okay, how can we support people, and he may make donations or what have you. So even if it's just him or others who were so inspired by the story to do something more concrete, I think there will be some change, but probably not at the large scale that would be needed to make it happen. But at least it's a small step in the right direction.
Yeah, and let me also actually do acknowledge that the donations do give me hope, because that means that
Yeah.
those are the people that are seeing that there's an underlying problem and they want to contribute to him, because they knew right away. He said in one of the interviews that he doesn't want to be America's next charity, but he was
Hmm.
thankful for the donations, right? So yeah, so the people on the individual level, like people like me that saw this and saw, okay, this is someone that is obviously struggling. I want to thank him for this video, so I'm going to send them some money as a thank you to help him out. So that's great. At the individual level, that does seem to be happening, but not at the like societal level where it's influencing the discourse of popular media and what other media personalities are saying. That they're not really talking much about his economic situation beyond just the fact that people are donating.
Hmm.
And then I don't want to be labeled as someone that just tries to look at like the glass half empty type of thing. I do think it is huge that he's breaking down those stereotypes, because
Hmm.
if people are able to relate to a guy with a bald headed homie with a tattoo on his head jamming to Fleetwood Mac, then it's that ability to relate to others that breaks down barriers and walls and
Hmm.
prejudices. So maybe next time they see someone like him on the street, maybe they'll think, oh, this guy looks just like the guy that was coming down the street singing Fleetwood Mac. Maybe I won't be as afraid of him. Maybe I won't lock my car door if they're crossing the street in front of me at the stoplight, right?
Yeah.
This is the little things that change people's perceptions. So in that sense, yeah, it has a positive effect. I do wish that more people would pay more attention to the economic situation of some of these of the people in these communities.
The brown perspective is when you get this conversation. So I'm glad we got deep into this topic.